The Great Lakes coastline is larger than the Atlantic and Pacific coastlines of the US combined.
Now, they're the most important freshwater system on the planet. And they are huge. So in many ways, they are physically, chemically, biologically like oceans, like marine systems, but they're not.
I mean, the Great Lakes are they are globally unique. Like I'm here in Wisconsin where we've got 15,000 lakes, all those little inland lakes make it a really kind of unique place to be. Lakes are an important part of our culture, but the Great Lakes are something even more than that. They are, just their size, you can't go anywhere else in the world really and see a freshwater system like this. And I have the opportunity to live right here. If I had windows on this side of my office, I could actually see Lake Michigan from my office here.
The fact that the lakes are so big that they actually influence weather patterns. Being that it's January when I'm recording this, we've had a lot of big lake effect snow events across the Great Lakes this year. And just the fact that, when you say a lake, people don't really get the size of that scale, but the Great Lakes are so massive that they have these huge weather and climate impacts on the land. I think that's just something that's really cool.
My name is Hillary Glandon.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a scientist. I study Great Lakes coastal ecosystems. I work for the University of Illinois and Illinois Indiana Sea Grant.
I'm Thomas Hook. I'm a professor in the Department of Forestry and Natural Resources at Purdue.
My name is Katie O'Reilly. I am the Aquatic Invasive Species Specialist for Illinois Indiana Sea Grant and the Illinois Natural History Survey. And I lead a lot of different initiatives and projects all surrounding the prevention of invasive species into the Great Lakes and the associated waterways. So we do a lot of outreach, we do some research into human behavior, and then we really just try and bring those pieces together so that people have the resources they need to prevent invasive species.
I'm Titus Seilheimer. I'm a fisheries specialist with Wisconsin Sea Grant. Well, it was just like everyone else. That's where the graduate work was. That was the project that I got to go to grad school to work on, which was Great Lakes coastal wetlands and fish habitat in there. So coastal wetlands are really important for a lot of fish species in the Great Lakes. They're these spawning and nursery habitats. They also have all these ecosystem services, so they're really, valuable to the overall health of the Great Lakes, and that drew me to start working on that. And I've spent now it's like 24 years working on the Great Lakes and coastal wetlands and riding on commercial fishing boats and all kinds of stuff.
I started working in the Great Lakes in 2021 because I got a job here. But I took that job because I was very interested in studying reefs in freshwater systems. I spent a long time studying oyster reefs in the Chesapeake Bay, so in the world's largest estuary, and was very interested in the ability to look at reefs in freshwater.
I started working in the Great Lakes in around 1997 when I started as a master's student on a project studying larval fish in northern Lake Huron.
Larval fish, so almost 30 years at this point. And so why did you choose that project?
No good reason. It was it wasn't that well thought out. Mostly just what the advisor that I had happened to be working on.
You spent your whole career then in the Great Lakes, essentially, right?
Right. So yes, it was just kind of happen chance that I ended up working on the Great Lakes as a master's student. But then I got really excited about the systems and went on after my master's to do a PhD that focused on the Great Lakes, and then have been working on the Great Lakes ever since.
So I started working the Great Lakes after a previous stint as a marine biologist. I did my undergraduate work in the marine sphere, but I knew I wanted to take what I'd learned in that area and apply it to the Great Lakes, since I had grown up in the Great Lakes region and really had a connection to, not just the lakes themselves, but what it means for the entire region, for the entire, environment.
There are sinkholes in the Great Lakes that support unique biotic life that isn't found anywhere else on Earth. There are cool, the Great Lakes weren't always, the land under the Great Lakes now was not always covered, all of it wasn't always covered by water. So there's cool archaeological finds under the Great Lakes, like people have found caribou blinds under the Great Lakes. There's just a really cool history on the systems.
What is cool about the Great Lakes? I was going to say, what isn't cool about the Great Lakes? The first thing that came into my mind, obviously, are some of the fish species that live there. I think one of the coolest fish that we have in the Great Lakes is the lake sturgeon. The lake sturgeon, you just can't beat it. It looks like a dinosaur. It's got these kind of bony plates called scutes instead of like a typical fish scale. They can live to be over, 150 years old. So it's just this really ancient dinosaur fish that used to be so abundant throughout the Great Lakes. And luckily, we're starting to see them come back because there's been a lot of effort put into restoration programs. Who doesn't want a dinosaur just kind of swimming around their lake? So that's one cool thing.
Strange, but she's only been here for a year or two. She's from Denver. She was like, "It's so great. It's so cool that the lake is so clear." I was like,
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Which is sad. It's the state of our education system that students aren't learning about burbot at an early age. And I hope that we can change that. I've made that my mission. But yeah, burbot it's the only freshwater species in the cod family. So if you've had a fish fry with cod before, those are ocean fish. There's a whole, the whole story of the collapse of the Atlantic cod stocks. But, here in the Great Lakes and in other inland waters, we have the burbot, and it is, just kind of a neat fish that spawns in the winter. So actually January, February, it's out there spawning under the ice. And then, and also, a bonus, it tastes good. So you can really enjoy, I always it's fun to work with fish because I get to eat them a lot.
Oh, the favorite Great Lake question is asking what your favorite child is.
Yeah, that's fine. Every parent knows you
I know,
can
there
answer
is
that
one.
question. That's a very answerable question.
It is an answerable question.
Obviously our lake. Lake Superior thinks it's great. And
right, enough already.
Thinks it's so superior, and it's no. Even though everybody loves Lake Superior, fine.
Lake Superior is a little bit full of itself, but it is the largest of the Great Lakes and the one that is the least affected by humans. So that one may be particularly noteworthy.
Lake Erie's like a puddle, right? It's too
at most.
Right. Okay.
I grew up by Lake Erie, and yeah, it gets people give it,
guff.
Give it some guff, but it is still a really cool lake.
Say Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and then Lake Michigan.
So why is Huron better than Michigan?
Huron's awesome. it is probably the Canadian side to it. Canadians are great, and but I spent a lot of time working in Georgian Bay, which is kind of on the Canadian side, and it's this huge, it's almost a Great Lake in itself. It's a large embayment, but it's just full of islands and habitats. And
I have to go with Lake Michigan. That's the best one. I know it's straightforward.
They're just hugely impactful to the region in terms of socially, culturally, economically. biologically, etc.
I think people are starting to realize, come around to realizing the importance of what's happening in this region. When you think about just the impact of that on the people that live in this region.
It is really a special place and really an interesting place to study and live by.
I think the Great Lakes are worth studying because they are somewhat, I don't want to say overlooked, but I don't think they necessarily get the kudos always that they should. We are lucky in our region that we have this incredible source of fresh water, which, if you think about it on kind of a global scale, is very rare. Despite our planet being mostly water, most of that's ocean. So I think we have a really important resource in our backyard, not just fresh water for people, but a really kind of unique freshwater ecosystem that is, supports fisheries for people. It supports, recreation. It supports transportation, and it has all of these values. But I think people just sort of take it for granted, and that's where we've run into issues over the years about pollution, the loss of habitat, invasive species that we're just starting to sort of, remediate. So I think it presents a really unique ecosystem that hasn't always gotten the attention it deserves.